Welcome to another Unmask the Title. Today's topic is a bit of a controversial one. We're going to be discussing traditional versus non-traditional marriage. Honestly, I used to be a big believer in traditional marriages, but it's kind of changed now. I kind of don't believe in them anymore. I don't know, I feel like a lot of people around me that I used to see going into what is known as the traditional or like arranged marriage sort of thing, they always like end up having issues because they didn't really know each other before they got into that marriage. That's why I'm now more prone to the untraditional marriage, what they call it these days. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Well, I have a different thoughts of this. I think both traditional and non-traditional are based on you selecting the right person. For me, whether it was traditional or non-traditional marriage, my important criteria is to select the right person.
Now, what is right person?
How would you find that right person? Like, let's say you get into a relationship and then you get to know that person for a year, 2 years.
If we say traditional marriage, that means your family helped you finding the right one for you.
Yeah.
It could be not the one.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But then there is something called engagement, right? So the engagement gives you the time to know that person, to see the advantage or the features that you're looking for in marriage, and to see whether she's suitable for you or he's suitable for you or not.
But my question is, like, I feel like with engagement, a lot of people, because it's kind of a setup engagement, it's like they're under pressure to pretend to be the right one.
You're also right. So this is very tricky. This is very hard. Again, you should find the right person to get you into this. For example, our marriage was not traditional and as well as not non-traditional.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I'm saying finding the right person. Okay, when I went with her, okay, and when I saw that, okay, she's the one, I had enough time to test that, to see if I'm right or not. Okay, I was right, okay, but that's why we got married. But at the same time, it was very difficult for me, especially that I had a bad relationship in the past and bad experience. So I was very careful of selecting the best partner for me, the right person. So I wouldn't say traditional marriage is not a good idea or not really
the best option
option right now. Well, it's not like that. And non-traditional marriage are also important because you have the chance to know the person more. You probably live with that person for a while, and then you think about, okay, he's the one, and you get married.
I think the point that you've said about engagement, now it's important to define. I think there are no boundaries per se, but it's important to define what is the traditional and non-traditional marriage. Traditional, as you said, it's someone that your family just sets up for you, introduces you, and then you speak to them, you get to know them a little bit. You maybe are allowed to go out with each other, maybe not. And then you set up the engagement.
It depends on families,
exactly.
Of course, religions.
And now this engagement, in my opinion, officiates a lot of things.
Yeah.
As opposed to a non-traditional marriage starts off as a relationship, then you start to date a little bit, you go out a little bit, mom and dad are a little bit more chill about it, you get to know each other more often, and then again, there's no officiating, nothing that's family involved per se.
Like you're not tied down.
You're not tied down. You get to know each other's traits, personalities, dislikes, likes, and then maybe you go down the path of moving in with each other. You live with each other. You, again, learn dislikes and likes. and then you go into the engagement where families know about each other. I think going down a traditional path that we've all seen over our childhood all ended up in, well, I didn't know that you're like this. Well, I didn't know that you're like that. And it all just piles up, as opposed to, I mean, it makes sense that we're both on the same page, because we are in a relationship where we started dating and then we started to know each other and we had a lot of things in common. And then we took it forward from there. I think that's the reason why we are on the same page.
Yeah.
I think our parents both went down the path of traditional. Not my mom per se, a little bit non-traditional as well. But I think a lot of people that we see, there's a lot of high unsuccessful rate of marriage in a traditional marriage. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think that's why we're in that path of non-traditional. Try to understand one another before we pull the trigger of even engagement and signing that paper. How about you? What do you think of traditional and non-traditional? What were your parents going down? I mean, were they traditional or non-traditional? And then what were you brought up with? What do you think?
For me, at first, us girls, we think about, I want to live a huge love story before getting married, but I had like a bit strict family that it should be traditional. Even if I had a love story, I needed to like wrap it and then bring it as a traditional. But I didn't have that love story or anything that made it to become a marriage or anything.
The white knight did not come onto a white horse and...
I mean, he eventually did.
Yes,
no,
I did.
I was,
but
I
he
was
didn't
speaking
come
to
on
a
his
point, And then, so I was at a point that I don't need marriage for now. That I just want to live my life. I want to go out. I want to have fun. I want to discover me. So I did everything, and then suddenly he came. So.
But in a traditional fashion, correct?
He came, yes, because I think the families, because we were kids together and the families were friends, so it won't be nice if he comes in non-traditional way. So that's why he came. He asked the father, but it was not like a really traditional, because
That's what I said.
The parents, they gave us like a period of time to get to know each other. And after this period of time, both of us will decide, maybe he's not suitable for me or I'm not suitable for him. So we took our time. I took my time a lot more.
More than you should.
Yes. But because I have trust issues, the first time that I met him, I told him everything about me. I do this, I do that. Do you accept me? And then he was like, yes, we can't continue from this stop, So I was like, okay. Then what happened?
And I did the same.
Yes, he told me also, yes.
I told her every single thing, whether it was bad or good.
Mainly it was good. It was bad, sorry.
Yeah. The first day I met her, it was my first time seeing her. Okay? I told her everything. I just throw it. Okay? Whether it was gonna happen or not, but I wanted her to know that, okay, this is me, this is Omar. If you accept it, okay. If you're not, goodbye.
Yeah.
Okay? Then we moved forward, yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't want to miss something that he already was my childhood love. That when we were kids together, I used to love him. And then
there's your big love story. That's the one you were looking for.
Exactly.
I wanted to say that, but yeah.
That's why it's not really traditional, and it's not really non-traditional. So after that, we had like few months that we talked, we went out, we discovered everything about each other. So after that, I decided to say yes, and it was in a really special way. And yeah, that's it. We moved forward to the engagement, to the religious marriage, and then to the big wedding, everything. So it was really magical, and it was really nice that God was helping us in everything. There was no struggles. Okay, there was like some people talking from here and there. It's fine, it happens. But really struggles, that the huge things that happen that may stop the thing, and God wants to give a sign to you that no, just stop it, don't do it. It was nothing from this. So I was really happy that it happened.
That's nice. But do you think you guys had the good amount of time to truly know each other? Or like, okay, now you're married, right?
Yeah.
Are there days where you see something in each other and you're like, damn, if I knew this earlier, maybe I would have not married her or him?
I think there's no like deal breaker kind of things that you'll discover
Or like,
now.
or like at
No.
least things that you wish you knew earlier.
No, not really, because when I asked the father to speak to her before we get engaged, okay, I took my time and she took her time to discover every single point. We were talking almost 24/7, okay, talking about everything in life, whether in our life or in the future, or the things that I hate or I love or whatever. So I think we had good amount of time to know each other. That's why we moved to engagement, and when we got engaged, we started going out more. We started preparing for the house and everything, and then you see the person in front of you, and you really see him while eating, while speaking to you, while speaking to friends, and so on. So I think we had enough time to know each other. And
Since like they opened the subject of marriage till we got married, it was like a year and few months.
Okay, so it was like plenty, any good
Yeah.
amount of
good
time.
amount of time.
Wasn't
Yes,
rushed.
yes,
Exactly,
it
yeah.
wasn't rushed at all.
I insisted on this.
Yeah, and it was good. It was good idea, to be honest, to take our time to discover each other. That's why when we got married, like, I know Fatima knows Omar. There's nothing behind it. I know people may say that, okay, during engagement, people tend to act rather than
Exactly.
being their
Real.
real character.
Yeah.
But we didn't do that, both of us. We wanted to be as real as possible to really move forward. Like, we were really serious about it. So because she did not care whether I was the right person or not. If I'm the right person, she will get married. If I'm not, she's not
No.
gonna get married. She's not in a hurry, okay? And I'm too. I wasn't in the hurry. So that's why we took it seriously, and the time was enough for us.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't
You
know,
know?
like I've read in a study. Actually, no, I didn't read it. My mom kind of told me about it, so I hope it's correct.
Yeah.
Depends where she read it from.
Yeah. This was before Insta, so hopefully it's the correct information.
Okay.
But like, she used to always say that apparently, according to psychology, people can pull off acting for up to 2 years, like acting a certain way.
Yeah.
So for me, growing up, like seeing all these like unsuccessful and like traumatic, abusive arranged marriages that were around me, and then hearing that people can act for up to 2 years, I was like, okay, I want traditional marriage, but I want to have minimum of 2.5 years of engagement.
Yeah.
So like, okay, during engagement, the guy can pass his 2-year mark of pretending, and then I'll get to
And then-
see it.
Yeah.
Obviously, that did not happen. But
Past 5.
yeah, he passed more than 2 years. But I feel like that kind of made me very like scared of this whole like engagement, because like nowadays people who do get engaged do not go more than 1 year. Like, okay, you guys, the
True.
whole process took you 1 year and something.
Yeah.
Your engagement, what, took you a few months maybe?
Yeah.
So like I feel like people who get engaged and then jump into marriage, like maybe 3 years down the line, they're gonna start seeing some things, not necessarily from the partner, but from the families. And that's my
True.
biggest fear. Sometimes it's not the person you're with, it's their people, it's their families that are going to be the ones that are gonna cause so much issues for you, that you're like, oh damn, I wish I had like longer time to get to know him and his family and then jump into that marriage. That's why like I've changed my stance to a more non-traditional marriage.
I also think another point to consider here is I will assume, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you and the ideology behind whether to go down the path of traditional and non-traditional would be based on what you see around you and first and foremost, how your parents are. So I would assume that, okay, currently your parents are in a successful long-term marriage. Yes, they've had their ups and downs, everyone does, but right now they're together, they're happy, they have their children, and that's you. And then I would assume the same for you. So I think your role models are your parents, right? At the end of the day. So if I think majority of the times when a child or an adult whose parents have had successful marriages up until their own marriage tend to not be opposed towards traditional marriage.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, my parents are successful. My grandparents have been successful in their marriages as well. Why not? Let me go down the same path. But then on the other hand is where it's our lives, where we've had nothing but trauma and lots of downs and little ups.
Yeah.
A lot of financial instability. And now we've grown up where it's our turn to get married. And then we come and see, oh shit, all of that has happened, it's been traditional marriage and it's now ended up here.
Yeah.
So we're living with this sort of trauma and we're living with this sort of tiptoeing fear, and we're tiptoeing our way towards marriage because we're like, what if it ends up being the same failure? What if it ends up facing the same problems as our parents faced? And I think that's what's really important. What's the differentiating factor on your point of view versus our point of view? It's like
That's correct.
very divided, and there's definitely advantages and disadvantages in both.
Yeah.
But I think this is the main reason why we've gone down the path of non-traditional. I mean, yeah, it hasn't reached marriage to call it non-traditional marriage, but it's a non-traditional path of get to know each other first for extended amount of time. Let our families know each other, see their interaction. Sometimes, I mean, mother-in-laws, father-in-laws, I don't know, brothers, sisters, they can have clashes that has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
then
it
that can
happens.
impact it. Like,
Yeah, it can heavily impact the relationship. And so now we've let the families meet each other. Yeah, okay, you can kind of seem like you get on the same page. I mean, you're not clashing, you're not fighting, you're not bickering behind each other's back. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
For this thing, there's 2 points for the partner to understand. The first point is that your partner needs to know that whoever talks about your partner, whether it's good or no, you need to talk to your partner to understand, or if it's bad and you know your partner for sure, you won't listen. Don't listen, because for me, I don't mind to listen about opinions because each person has its own opinion.
Omar is smiling.
Yeah,
He's-
because I
he's-
remembered something. I can. I can't remember them. Something.
I know.
After Fatma's input, we need to hear Omar's side.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
because I already discussed this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so each person has its opinion, so it's fine if I listen. Okay, if I'll get to defend, I'll defend, but at a point, it won't change anything, because I know my partner, and no one else in the world. He will get to know him like I do, because I'm living with him the whole time, even if we're not married, even if we're just in a relationship. We will be on the phone the whole time. We will go out. We will do things. So we will spend much of the time together. That will make us know each other more than other people that they might know it from my side, or if someone from his side. So this is the first point. The second point, I forgot.
No worries. Let us know why you're
But
smiling.
anyways, I can relate to her point. When we got engaged, the first thing that I told her if we discuss, if we argue, if we fight, please don't tell anyone, okay? We're gonna solve it, we're gonna live with it, and we'll move forward. If we tell our parents about any issues happening between us, it'll just get bigger, okay? Her families will support her, my family will support me, and so on. So it's much better to be within our house, and that's it.
Yeah.
Won't cross that line, okay? But why I smiled, because in the beginning of our relationship, okay, we were talking just normally, and she had someone from her side, okay?
That someone is still in my life.
Yes, she used to talk to the person, okay, about our relationship and about me personally. And I came to know that that person told her that I'm not kind of the right person for you. My opinions and my character and Omar as a husband won't fit your mentality. Okay. And I was really pissed. I was really pissed because it was the beginning of our relationship, and it was even Fatima doesn't know enough about me. So how come that the other person that I don't know judged me from nothing?
Yeah.
That's why I hate that person, okay? And I don't want to see that person, or even...
We'll never know if it's a he or a she.
You will never know. I'm not going to say it, okay? But the meaning is, you don't have to say anything about your relationship. Your relationship should be only focused on your partner. That's it. Otherwise, as you see, that's a simple example.
But
okay?
It didn't change anything in me.
But thank God it didn't change her opinion about me.
Yeah.
Okay? Because otherwise, we're very good now.
Yeah.
If that idea changed her, then
you would be on a different trajectory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah. I think one of the things that Yalda taught me, and she can elaborate on that, is how I was at the beginning of our relationship versus how I am now. Beginning of the relationship was, okay, since we're in a relationship, there's nothing tying me down to you. So the first argument or the first disagreement that popped up, okay, let's call it off.
Yeah.
And I think that boiled up from the fact that I had a fear of being tied down or committing to someone because of the things that I've faced as a child and growing up. And I think that's something that I learned from her. I think might not be the case in a traditional marriage, because in a traditional marriage you cannot say like,
Definitely.
okay, it's goodbye, I can't deal with you and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And I think you can let...
Actually, you know what? It can happen in traditional marriage as well, where, okay, it's not like, okay, I'm going to break up now, let's call it a day, I'm not going to talk to you. But it becomes that like, okay, let's go back basically. What happened with us is that, ADHD. What happened with us was that Hamid used to struggle with like communication.
Yeah.
Okay, I think you can agree with that. And we would get into a fight, or not even a fight, like the tiniest argument, and his defense was always like, okay, I'm not going to talk to you. And then for me, it was like, what do you mean you're not going to talk to me? No, you're supposed to talk to me.
I think I was the girl of the relationship at one point.
Roles were reversed for sure.
Yeah.
Like I was the one that's like, no, you need to communicate. You need to tell me like, okay, I'm not sitting inside your head to understand what did I say that upset you. Like, I don't know you. I just got to know you. I don't know what words trigger you, what actions trigger you. And I think had we gone down the path of arranged marriage, which could have been possible because our families sort of knew each other, that would have been such a huge issue where, let's say we would have been married and then he pulls such a thing on me. I would like walk away and I would go to my mom's house and I would be like, Mom, I want to divorce this guy. But because it was a relationship and I felt like, okay, I don't have anything to lose. I will either make him communicate or khalas, we will not communicate. That's why I felt like, okay, I can tell him like, no, you really need to communicate with me. And that's my point of view.
Did he change?
He did.
Did he start
Surprisingly,
communicating
he
with you?
actually speaks now.
He speaks.
He speaks.
I'm surprised.
He now formulates sentences about what's wrong with him,
Oh, wow.
which is surprising. No, but like I genuinely feel like for us, had we not had this like sort of untraditional form of relationship where, I mean, as I mentioned, our families knew each other, but we got to know each other despite of them.
Yeah.
We met without knowing who our families were.
Yeah.
And we got into a very like slow relationship, just friends, then just to get to know each other, then a relationship. We had the opportunity to somewhat grow with each other. I've adapted a lot of his behavior. He's adapted a lot of my behavior that now if we are to get married eventually, inshallah, I think we would have a much better success rate than if we had gotten married otherwise.
Yeah.
We would have bumped heads so much because we're both very strong-headed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell.
Yeah.
So I just remembered the second
one.
part.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so the second part is that traditional and non-traditional marriage, they are both not perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for our families or any other families, but I mean for newlyweds couples, they need to see the bad things that happened in their families, and then they need to learn to not just repeat the things that happened already and led to some kind of problems or anything. Because for me also, I struggled a bit. My mother and my father, they met. It was like 100% traditional marriage. And there is like 9 to 10 years difference between them. And sometimes I don't feel that they have the same level of understanding or
Who's older?
My father, of course.
Not of course, because there is a different story this side of the table.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh,
Sorry.
I don't know about this. That's interesting.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
We'll let
get
you know.
into
Go
that.
on.
Yeah, so when I see that sometimes they are not on the same page, sometimes they have like different way of thinking, different opinions on things. So that was a point that made me take more time to know the person that I'm going to marry, because I don't want to go through the same things that I can see now that it's happening between my mother and father. And I believe Omar have the same thing, because
Definitely.
that's the point, that children, they always need to learn from the things. In the previous podcast, we was saying something about the mother and father. So that's a point that I want to raise my kids on, that I don't want me to be the main person in their life. I want their father to be, and I will be there pushing Omar. I know that he will work so hard and he will spend most of the time in work, but I want him to spend much more time on them, because I don't want them when they get old to be like, my mother was the only person that supported us and was there in our life. I want them to say
Equal.
both of them, they were in our life. They both supported us, emotional and financial. I don't want them to divide it.
Yeah.
The father is financial and the mother is emotional, you know. That's the point. That's why sometimes I get afraid because I think that Omar is not ready now to be that giver in this time, because now he's focusing on work, which is, I support him. At this period of time, because we just married, we need to focus on work, on the financial side of our relationship, and then to think about anything else.
Yeah.
It's a very valid point, honestly.
Yeah.
What is your age differences? You're 30, 31.
31.
32 in 2 months.
Yeah. That sounds like 31, 32. And you?
I'm 25.
Okay.
So it's six years, 9 months.
6 years and 9 months. So are
And
you
12 days.
So now that you've kind of brought up the topic of your mom and dad having that age difference.
Yeah.
So, and you kind of have that age difference, sort of.
You know what I was thinking before I know him? I was thinking to have maximum by 5 years.
Age difference?
Yes.
Okay.
And a lot of people, they came and all of them, they were so big, you know. It was like 12 years plus.
Oh.
So I was like, no. I don't
So, but what makes you think that, I mean,
6 years is
6 years
good.
is okay now? Like,
Yes, because, okay, now we're talking about science. They said that mentally, the man should be bigger than the woman because something related to the
Maturity.
Yes, maturity.
yeah. By
So-
6 years.
4 years, they say.
I
4
don't
years
know.
or 6, something like this.
Yeah, something.
I disagree with this, but anyways.
Something like
She'll
this.
have something else to say.
Okay.
I think.
But anyways, other than the experience that you live in your life, that will give you that maturity. But anyways, let's say about the basics. So I agreed on the 6 years after knowing him because I kind of know that we have almost the same way of thinking. That's why whenever something happens, I'd be like, I look at him and then, okay, I know what he's thinking of.
You know he'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like they're on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I totally disagree with the age difference between the couples. I see that, again, choosing the right person is the ultimate goal you're looking for. Yeah, you don't need to look at the age. Age is just a number. Okay, I'm older than you, but you were talking about maturity. So men above 30s are more mature than when they're 20, 25 or 26. But I can tell you, 2 days ago, I met a friend of mine. Okay, he used to be my patient, and he is my patient. But I met him. He's 23 years old. Okay, and we were talking about life in general. I see that he's more mature than I do. Okay, he's 23. I'm 31. So age is just a number. It doesn't matter whether you're 30, you're 20, you're 25. It's just
I
a matter of...
completely agree with that.
Yeah.
So funny enough, I'm actually older than him by
Okay.
2 years.
Yeah.
So
1 year and 8 months.
Okay.
most of the year
It's
most of the year I'm older than him by 2 years. Some like few months of the year it's 1 year.
1 year. Okay.
Good. But basically, what happened was when I met him, I genuinely thought he's older because
Yeah.
of his personality.
Yeah.
When I realized that he's younger than me, I was shocked because honestly speaking, I always thought I would be with someone who's like 5 years older than me. Same thing. I had heard that, you know, the girl should be always like 4 or 5 years younger than the guy because women are more mature, this and that. But I've met people of various ages.
Yeah.
I can easily tell you that there are men out there who are 40, 50 years old with the maturity of a 13-year-old boy hitting puberty.
Yeah.
And then,
Probably younger.
yeah. And then there is Hamid Raza, and alhamdulillah, he is 28. I'm just teasing. He's 28 years old, but I would say he has the maturity of like maybe a 40-year-old man.
Yeah.
Here comes the experience.
Yeah, it's about experience. It's also about his personality and each individual. Like, there are people that have had the same exact life experience as him. Maybe they're around the same age.
Yeah.
they're still not as mature as him. So it's literally every single person is different than the other. That's why, again, that whole like the time we have had to get to know each other is so precious to me, because I know for a fact that no matter our age gap, we're on the same page. Our goals are the same. Our outlook of life is the same. Our expectations of life, each other, everyone around us, work, everything is the same, despite our age difference. And it's so funny because, again, like the whole concept of traditional, non-traditional, the first time my mom heard that he's younger than me, she was like, oh, how's that gonna work? I was like, I don't know. Even for me, it's strange. Like, I didn't imagine this happening, but I feel good about him. Like, I feel like he's mature. And she's like, yeah, honestly, I've heard from his mom, he's mature, but he has some, things.
Funny enough, our quirks and weirdness were similar. Because
Yeah.
my mom would tell me something about Yalda, but me not knowing who Yalda is,
Yeah.
sounding just like what I would do, and vice versa.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I think when I met Yalda, I went to my mom. I'm like, Mom, I met this new girl. My mom is literally my
Your
pillar
best
of
friend.
my best friend, but more pillar of support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than my best friend. I think my elder brother and her are more best friends because the age gap and it's the first child and all that stuff. But I think my mom is literally a mother rather than just a mom. She's a mother and a big pillar of support for me. And the first thing I went to her and I asked her, Mom, I met this girl, but there's one thing I'm not sure about. She's older than me. She's like, okay, so what? I'm like, but she's older. Like, doesn't it like sound weird? She's like, no, give it a try, see what happens. And then that's why like we went down the path of
Let's
like
give it a try.
everything is just non-traditional
Yeah.
on this side of the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that women really get older faster than men?
Yes.
Because this is why our families always pushes us to have a age difference, which I was not supporting, and until this moment, I'm not supporting it. I don't believe age is a problem. But do you think that women gets older?
Okay, at least
faster?
personal experience, yes. But again, I believe every human has a different experience. So it's not that it applies to 100% of the female population, but majority of women or girls, we tend to age faster than the men around us, simply because, or at least in the Middle Eastern culture, I think. Because there is such a pressure on girls to grow up, to take responsibility. I mean, I was like 7 years old and my mom was teaching me how to make tea for whenever my uncle was coming around.
That was a simple task.
It's a simple task, but like as a 7-year-old like boy, you're not gonna ever tell your son, hey,
Of course, I
Hamid
was playing
Reza, go learn
football.
how to make yeah, exactly. But for me at 7, I knew how to make tea, and like not just Lipton tea. Yeah, I'm talking about like proper Iranian tea with like the loose tea and everything.
Yeah.
How to, when people come, how to greet them, this, that, and like as the daughter, I was kind of always there for my mom. So I was hearing, I was seeing. Not that she was trying to make me see, but I would see all the issues. So because I was seeing the issues of the marriage, I grew up faster as well. Compared to a boy who, not saying again, all boys are like this, but I feel like a majority of boys, they're just playing football, playing on their PC, this and that. They're not that involved in the life for them to mature as fast as the girl.
True.
I think girls, I mean, you disagree and I disagree with your disagreement.
Okay.
Because I think it's true that girls or women do age faster than men. And this helps them in multiple things. Number one, most important, is multitasking, which us men cannot do.
Definitely.
Number two is problem solving. Although us men like to be logical and are logical more often than not, but when women are boiled down to making a decision, their decision-making power is much, much, much better than us men.
Much more precise.
Much more precise, and they make the decision whether it is going to be wrong or right, but they will make the decision.
Yeah.
No matter what it is.
Yeah.
And I think
Unless you ask me where to eat, that I cannot make with this.
that's a different story.
That's a different story. Yeah.
But life decisions that are very imperative to livelihood, I think their decision making ability is at least a couple of years ahead of majority of men. And we're completely off topic, but this is I think age plays a really big role, and they do age much faster than us. And I hope to be able to catch up with her. I think I have caught up and also stayed on par with her so far. Let's see what the other years in the future will bring.
Good.
I agree. We're on par. Like there are certain things. Again, it's just because each human is different. There are certain things that I'm still probably like a little girl about, and then there are things that you're like a little boy about. But I think that's regardless of age. So as you said, like age is just a number.
Yeah.
It
So,
just
like-
reminded me of something.
Yeah.
Of what? Tell me.
One day he was playing FIFA, and I was sitting just there putting my nail polish and just watching SpongeBob.
Yeah, exactly. See?
It takes you back to childhood.
Yeah.
You were both in your childhood. So to like wrap it up, basically, I would say that neither is right or wrong, traditional
Exactly.
versus non-traditional, because like listening to you guys, you had a mixture of both. And for us, like we're not completely non-traditional in the sense that our families are involved, they know us, they know our status, they get to know us.
They're still guiding
And
us.
I think it really comes and boils down to what we've been through as an individual, what our partner has been through. And as long as it works for both of you, it does not matter whether you're doing it traditionally or non-traditionally.
That's correct.
I think most important is let us know your opinions down in the comments section below, or let us know on across all our social media channels what your opinions are, and if you're in a relationship or marriage, which path you guys took, and what are some of the disadvantages and advantages that you guys think about. Make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe wherever you're listening to us from. Make sure to follow us along because there are many more videos to come just like this one. So stay tuned and see you guys in the next podcast.
See ya.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.